Few people shaped the Beatles' music as profoundly as producer George Martin. Often called the fifth Beatle, Martin did far more than simply press the record button. His classical training, inventive arrangements, and willingness to embrace experimentation helped transform four talented musicians from Liverpool into one of the most groundbreaking bands in history. Across dozens of recording sessions, Martin helped create countless classics. Yet when reflecting on his career, there was one Beatles song he singled out as the recording he was most proud of. And surprisingly, it wasn't Yesterday, A Day in the Life, or Strawberry Fields Forever. Instead, Martin pointed to the wonderfully eccentric Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite. The song appeared on Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band in 1967, an album that marked a turning point not only for the Beatles, but for popular music itself. By this stage, the band had stopped touring and devoted all their energy to the recording studio, treating it as a creative instrument rather than simply a place to capture performances. John Lennon wrote Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite after purchasing a Victorian circus poster from an antique shop. Nearly every lyric came directly from the advertisement, which promoted a performance by circus entertainer Pablo Funk. Lennon loved the strange imagery and wanted listeners to feel as though they had stepped inside a noisy 19th century circus. That request presented George Martin with one of the greatest production challenges of his career. Rather than relying on conventional instruments, Martin and recording engineer Geoff Emerick searched for a way to recreate the chaotic excitement of a carnival. They recorded steam organs and fairground instruments before manipulating the tapes in an unconventional way. Sections of tape were cut into small pieces, tossed into the air, gathered at random, and spliced back together in whatever order they landed. The result was unlike anything audiences had heard before. The swirling collage of distorted organs and unpredictable sounds created the illusion of a carnival spinning wildly around the listener. Instead of simply accompanying the song, the studio itself became part of the performance. It perfectly captured the surreal atmosphere Lennon had imagined from the old circus poster. Looking back on the sessions years later, Martin admitted that this achievement remained one of the highlights of his entire career. I suppose the one that I am most proud of is Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite, because I was part of putting that together as a collage. That really worked, and I was very happy about that. It was the happy days before the strife set in. The quote reveals an important distinction. Martin wasn't necessarily saying that Mr. Kite was the greatest Beatles song. Rather, he was expressing pride in his own creative contribution. Unlike many Beatles recordings where his role focused on arranging or refining the band's ideas, Mr. Kite required him to invent an entirely new sonic landscape from scratch. That spirit of experimentation became one of the defining qualities of Sgt. Pepper. Songs like Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, Fixing a Hole, and the monumental A Day in the Life pushed recording technology further than almost anyone thought possible in 1967. But Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite stood apart because so much of its magic depended on techniques developed inside the studio itself. Martin's genius was his ability to turn John's often abstract ideas into reality. Whether arranging string quartets, writing orchestral scores, or devising entirely new recording methods, he consistently found practical solutions to creative problems that seemed impossible at first. That partnership helped redefine what a recording studio could be. Instead of documenting music, the studio became an instrument capable of creating sounds that could never exist on a concert stage. While George Martin remained proud of many Beatles masterpieces throughout his career, Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite occupied a unique place in his heart. More than almost any other recording, it represented the moment when imagination, technology, and collaboration came together perfectly, producing one of the most inventive studio creations in Beatles history.